Hello and welcome to the High School Huddle. Along with Ronnie Phillips, Phil Nichols, Chris Evans with you. Redistricting is out. The OSSA has approved it, and there is a lot of shuffling, not for this football season, but for the next 2 football seasons. We'll discuss that and a whole lot more as we dive into the new districts for football from 6A. There's new classes. There's new classifications. There's more championships being handed out. We're going to talk about all that after we hear from one of our great sponsors here on the High School Huddle. The High School Huddle is presented by Generations Church. Love God, love people, serve both well. Contact Generations Church by calling 405-282-6848 or visit them online at generationsguthrie.com. Well, there will be 12 state championships beginning in 2024 as 3 classifications have been added. Class 2A has 2 classifications, Class A has 2 classifications, and Class B, 8-man football, has 2 classifications. And this is kind of a reflection upon 6A football getting split several years ago. And so, you know, we talked about a whole lot when 6A split, you know, what it's done for 6A2 for some of those schools out there. This one feels a little bit different to me. And I'm sure, it's just, I don't know, I was all aboard on the first one. This one's a little, I don't know if it's too new to me. You know, I understand the extra championships and I understand the size quality. So, I don't know, it just has a weird feel right now.
Is part of it, you think, because we're now, it seems like everything in the world, we're trying to be extra fair on everying?
Yeah, is
that what it feels like?
it's a copycat deal. What the NBA does, college does, and it goes all the way down to high school. So it seems to be working for 6A football, and so now the coaches in 2A and A are like, hey, we want to be like that as well. So
you know, really,
that's ultimately what the coaches want,
right? And at the end of the day, what does it really change?
3 extra games, which is great for in December,
right? Yeah. Great for people like us, and great for officials get to make some more money at the end of the year. And so, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess at the end of the, I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. It's still fresh, I guess. It's fresh,
but remember, I called 6A2 6A JV for 3 years before I finally started looking at it and going, now this is good. This is good for high school football, you know. So I think, it is. I mean, you get to see the Bixby's of the world going back to then. Of course, now we know them as a powerhouse, whether they're in 6A1 or 6A2. But you know, but it really helps schools like Stillwater and, you know, some of these teams, Choctaw,
that probably would never have a chance.
Have a chance to compete for any kind of state championship for a variety of reasons, but. And listen, the quality of football at 6A2 is outstanding. I mean, it's very good football. There's not as many of them. There's just not as many towns that size, right? So, you know, and the smaller classes at 60
was 64.
Was 64. It's going to 32 now.
Yeah.
And so now you're aligning with 5A and 4A and 3A. So I mean, I'm okay with, you know, one less game now. Right, because before the small classes had to play that, there was always an extra playoff game.
15 games.
15 games. So that will actually, I believe, help a little bit with the officiating shortage.
And I think the OSSA is going to have to decide how to spread those games out.
Yeah.
In Texas, they play 4 days of triple headers of state championships.
Yeah.
They have 12 state championships, and they divide 4 straight days, and I think they have triple headers. So, you know, the state championship right now are over a 2-week span, so we'll see how that plays out.
That affects us.
That plays at UCO.
Yeah, that affects us, Chris.
Yeah, so
do we get a vote on that?
Doubtful. We can always give input, but I'm sure that's going to. So, but we'll talk more about 2A, A, and B as we go along here. But we want to talk about some of the redistricting, and we will start with 6A. And 6A1, and we'll show you the districts here. And do note the 6A Division 1, District 1 and 2 came out. There was a clerical error from the Oklahoma Football Coaches Association to the OSSA. They had 2 teams swapped. And so when you see it in red here in a second, that's what that is. So the red means it has not been formally approved by the OSSA Board of Directors. It will be. There won't be any issues with that. So let's take a look at the district. Again, this is for 24 and 25. And there you see the red, and I'm getting a very popular Facebook pop up there as well. Jinx Bixby highlights District 1. That stays the same. District 2, Owasso and Broken Arrows is the two big ones on that side, along with Westmore. Do note there's 16 teams in Division 1, 10 teams from the West, and 6 teams from the East. And when you divide it up even more, there's 5 teams from the West in one district, 3 teams from the East, and that's evenly on there. So I think this one may be one of the easier ones to you get into the Moors, Southmore, Moore, and Westmore. How do you split your teams up? Middale District has that issue in 5A. The Edmond schools has that as well. So I'm sure that's a conversation between Moore schools and Edmond schools before they even get to the Football Coaches Association, what they like to see.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And as I look at this, there's a couple things that jump out at me. I think it's pretty well done, but boy, just on a quick shot, I think I'd rather be in District 2 than District 1.
Well, Jinx Bixby, we can talk about this in 5A and some others as well. If Jinx Bixby, the top 2 ones right now, of course, Union has an argument, but when we get to 5A, Guthrie, Carl Albert's in the same district. Well, if you're Guthrie, you stay with them because if you see Carl Albert in the playoffs, it's probably going to be deeper in the playoffs, and not if you're in the other one, you might see him. So I don't know if that plays a factor.
I think on District 1, though, and I don't, when you look at it on District, you got Jinx and Bixby, as you just said, but then you've got Mustang, who puts together good ball clubs, or Norman North, who's been coming on as of late, right? You can't really sleep on, in my opinion, Moore. Moore's had good runs over the last few years. So I mean, I look at depth, right? I mean, it's pretty easy, no matter what class we're talking about, to pick the top 2. Almost in every district, you're able to go. It's pretty clear to get there. Pretty easy path to get who the top 2 teams are in each district. Those 3rd and 4th slots, that's where it gets a little more hazy, and no disrespect to District 2. I mean, Owasso's powerhouse every year. Broken Arrow, I wouldn't call them a powerhouse. They've had their moments, but largest school in the state of Oklahoma, so you never know what's walking the halls over there.
Union and Westmore.
Union and Westmore, both very good football teams. Obviously, Union out of all of them on District 2 is the one hole for me every year, and I think most people would feel that way.
Yeah, and it's tough, especially in the age of football now. Kids in and out. It can turn.
Portal.
I mean, Broken Arrow might be a powerhouse. I mean,
it depends on who goes there.
They might win 4 or 5 in a row. You never know. So
there's potential in both divisions there to be really, really good.
Oh yeah.
With everything
both districts
going on.
could be good.
The one I look at those districts, and I feel it's just Southmore. I mean, they're the bottom. If they were in 6A2, it'd be a little bit better.
Yeah.
And you have an argument where Southmore is number 16 as far as ADM. Deer Creek's the largest 6A2. If you switch those 2 around, like right now, Deer Creek would be okay in 6A1. Southmore would be better in 6A2. But if you're a Southmore fan, you're about 10 students away from flipping with Deer Creek. So that'll probably happen.
That's why I was going to say 2 years. We'll probably see that flip. And those things tend to work out, but those can be an awful long 2 years.
It's been a tough few years for Southmore. So
no doubt.
All right, 6A2 football, and the 6A2, the West teams have 11, and there's 5 East teams gone or coming into 6A2. Piedmont, Northwest Classen, McGinnis. As we take a look at 6A2. And there it is, Bishop McGinnis. Remember the Rule 14, if you finish 2 out of 3 years in the top 4, you get bumped up a class. And McGinnis.
For private schools.
For private schools, yes. And there's 24 private schools in the state. But there you see the districts for 24 and 25. Initial thoughts on this one, guys?
Well, I mean, first 2 that jump off, Deer Creek and Choctaw under District 1, obviously. I think everybody would agree that's that's the cream of the crop anyway on the District 1 side. And then Putnam City, you never know what they're going to do. Lawton, been down on their luck here lately. Ike usually has talented kids. They always have some talent. Bishop McGinnis, that's a big ask, right?
Yeah,
tough. That's a big ask.
That's
now I will tell you, if somebody made me pick right now, going forward, I still think McGinnis gets in the playoffs in this district more times than not. I think they'd be that 4th hole, but they're a bubble right there, don't you think?
Well, you can't
who knows?
with McGinnis with the way they're set up.
Who they go get?
they would struggle. I think they wouldn't have as much fun in 6A2 this year. I mean, they're picked fourth in 5A this year. So how's that reflecting 6A2 week in and week out? But 11 West teams, 5 East teams. So Capitol Hill, Piedmont, and Northwest Classen are going east for that District 2 district there. So we'll see how Piedmont here in a couple of years goes into 6A2 football. But Stillwater, Muskogee, Ponca is on the rise. Sand Springs is trying to go through that next level. So that is the fun one there. 6A1, Deer Creek, Choctaw, I would certainly think nothing will change there over the next several years. We'll see.
I think District 2, man, just looking at that, if you're Piedmont, wow, that's gonna be another tough ass, just like McGinnis. And on the other side, it's just, you got Piedmont coming up with their flex offense they run. Is that something they're gonna have to they keep, or are they gonna change their offense? In a couple of years with facing more talent. You know what I mean? Because 6A obviously have better athletes. But again, Stillwater, Muskogee, obviously the top two in that district right now. Ponca City plays tough, and Sand Springs had a good year last year.
Sand Springs consistently over the last several years has been, that in the playoffs. And so they
played Muskogee tough last year. I mean, they've done a good job last year. But very interesting to see what.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just say it's going to be very interesting to see what Piedmont does as far as personnel wise and stuff, and how they move. Same thing with McGinnis, because you have to make adjustments when you go up a class, right?
UConn tried
better.
UConn tried that flex bone offense, and it didn't work there. So. You have with the state championship football.
Well, let's be brutally honest. It doesn't work when it gets into the deep runs unless you have cats at every position, and also that offense that Piedmont has ran over the last few years. You got the teams that it does well with are people that aren't tough and are not disciplined on defense.
Right.
If you got a team is just a tough team, hard nosed team, and is disciplined on defense and specifically against the run. Piedmont's offense is going to have a hard time.
Yeah, again, when we saw them, when it's 3rd and 13, 14, 15, they're running the ball. You're not definitely you didn't hardly be able to do that in 5A. You're not going to be able to do that in 6A.
Exactly right.
So they're going to have to make changes for sure.
Try not to go too deep in the woods and all this, but the day of the portal, a superb pass.
Anything can happen.
The kid who transferred into Carl Albert never thought Piedmont because they don't throw the ball.
Right,
exactly. So
that's, not to get too far into that.
That's a whole other segment we can do.
So the new teams in 6A2, McGinnis, Piedmont, and Ike. The teams moving out, Booker T, Washington, Tahlequah, and Putnam City West. They were 6A2. It will be 6A2 this year, but they're moving out. We'll take a look at Class 5A football. The new teams coming in, John Marshall, Putnam City West, Tahlequah, Booker T. Teams moving out, Piedmont, McGinnis, Ardmore, Lawton Ike, and Tulsa Hill. Let's take a look at the west side of Class 5A, and there's a good look at the districts. A little bit change here in 5A with Midwest City and Del City now in District 1. Del City this year will be in 5A3, but will be with Midwest City in District 1, along with Elgin and Lawton MacArthur. Elgin will be a strong team this year. They graduate a lot this year. We'll see how Elgin is in the next couple of years for this district here. But MacArthur, Elgin, Midwest City, Del City, 4 good programs right now. And then District 2, usually where your state champions come from a lot of over the years. Carl Albert remains there. Guthrie remains there as well. El Reno and Noble and Shawnee, Putnam City West, just off your screen there, along with John Marshall. Now, originally, it was thought that Noble would be in 5A1 and Elgin would be in 5A2. That was the late discussion, but the coaches end up going with Elgin in 5A1 and Guthrie 5A2. So, initial thoughts on 5A1, 5A2?
I thought there's a lot of discussion between 1 and 2, because I know Del City was talked about maybe being in District 2 or District 3, and Durant maybe flipping and stuff like that. So there was a lot of stuff, but
I will say to that point, I forgot to mention is that this year was a little bit easier for the coaches because there were 16 West schools and 16 East schools. So it was a pretty even split, with Shawnee come over to the West side. Shawnee's always the East-West.
Right.
But it with with Tahlequah and Booker T coming out and Piedmont and McGinnis going out, it was pretty much an even split. So after that, it was just splitting up your districts.
Yeah, just looking at it top of the hand, like you said, District 2 is normally where the state champion comes out, but if you're going to play this year or I guess next year, I think District 1, Phil, it might be the tougher of the two right now. I mean, again, Carl Robert, they're going to be Carl Robert and do what they do. Guthrie's going to be very strong to that as well. Noble has struggled on defense here lately, and now they got to find a quarterback to replace the Fisher kid who's now playing baseball at the University of Arkansas. So they might be down a little bit. Shawnee's been down. But Elgin, they've been pretty decent. Obviously, Del City, they're going to be pretty good. But Midwest City, Altus. But, yeah, right. Looking at those two, I think District 1 might be the tougher overall from top to bottom.
Yeah, I think top to bottom for me, we talked about this, came on the air. I said, well, I don't see District 2 being top to bottom the toughest district anymore.
Yeah.
I think it is District 1. Midwest City's not what they have been historically, but, again, to what Chris keeps bringing up, just not so fast. I mean, that could change at any time. Del City's talent everywhere. Elgin's an up-and-coming program. Mac, don't forget about Mac. Everybody forgets, Mac was a consistent semifinalist, finalist football team in 5A for years. And I think you'll see them come back even more. But, and it's just, again, top to bottom, I think 1 gets the nod. I still think District 2
will have a state champion.
We'll probably have it. Well, I know they'll have a state championship this year. I mean, I feel more strong about that than I did Bixby last year.
All right, so we'll take a look at the east side of 5A, which is District 3 and 4. And Bishop Kelly moving from 5A4 to 5A3. Edison doing the same thing. Tahlequah, a 6A2 division, 6A2 District 1 team this year, they're moving to 5A4. Booker T, also 6A2-1 this year, moving down to 5A4. And Tulsa Memorial going from 5A3 to 5A4. Initial thoughts when you see this one here, Booker T. Washington, thing to remember Booker T. Washington, and last year might be something different. They only had 39 kids on their roster. Yeah. So we'll see how Booker T, if it's the same Booker T that left 5A that went in 6A, that was, they had high expectations last year, fell short of those. Yeah. We'll see how that one plays out. But Booker T. Washington, Collinsville, Tahlequah, probably throw in Claremore as your top 4 teams in that district. In District 3 remains, we always talk about McAllister, Coweta, Sapulpa. Now they have Bishop Kelly in that district.
Yeah, but, you look at that, I think McAllister's going to be down. Now, I'm not saying they're going to be a bad football team, but I think they're going to be where people had them in the conversation the last few years, being in this, and they proved it to be. They were in the state championship 2 years in a row, But I think we get to a point to where you got to maybe bring down that expectation. I see McAllister being more of a 6-4, 7-3 type team throughout the regular season. On the other side, I'm sorry I don't have mine in front of me, but on the other side, we've got Collinsville, who's consistently been a top 5A team for some time, and you talked about Booker T and Tahlequah, but if I had to pick out of these 2 districts, which one I think is a tougher road in, I would probably go with District 4 is the tougher road in for me because of the Collinsville and Booker T. Yeah, they were way down on athletes last year, but they're still Booker T. And like you said, we got to see what they do on the top end. As far as depth, Bishop Kelly's been down. I think McAllister's not going to be what they have been the last few years. Sapulpa is a good football team, good high school football team, but it drops off pretty hard after that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Remember, these are for 24 and 25 football seasons.
I just hope Booker T just gets good again because I enjoy when Booker T is really, really good. I remember we played them in the state championship game way back in 20 years ago, but they're fun to watch, and they always have athletes, so I'll be interested to see if they can get back on track.
Yeah, it's good for high school football if they're good.
No doubt about that. We'll take a real quick look here at Class 4A, and go ahead and I'll talk over the number here. But out of 4A, John Marshall, Woodward, Bridge Creek, Cleveland. New to 4A will be Ardmore, Lincoln Christian, Holland Hall, and Tulsa Hill. And I thought I had it on there. And let's take a look on the west side. 4A1, 4A2. And Classen, big one there, guys. Heritage Hall moving from 3A2 to 4A1. Class 5A, you're on alert because they are a couple. There could be 2 seasons away from coming up to Class 5A. They got 2A numbers right now. Got bumped up due to the Rule 14 rule, but they're in 4A now. But 5A, you are on alert. And Newcastle going from 4A2 to 4A1 to help balance that out a little bit. Ardmore 5A1 to 4A2. Cushing 4A3 to 4A2. Medill from 4A4 to 4A2. So with a lot of shuffling going on, they had to kind of rebalance these out. And 4A football has always been tough. It just gets tougher with Heritage Hall coming into the mix. But do know that Heritage Hall has been there in 4A and has won a state championship not too long ago.
Yeah, and I think for me, District 2 jumps out. I mean, you got Tuttle, you got Cushing, Bethany, and Blanchard. I mean, that's those are all outstanding football programs. So, and then, and of course, Ardmore, you never know what they're going to do. Ardmore's been hurt a lot with the Plainview and all that, like
Dixon.
Same things happen in Shawnee with some of these other communities.
Yep.
They've got the smaller communities around that these kids are choosing to go to. But, man, I think District 2 and 4A is the gauntlet.
Yeah.
I mean, that is tough. Now, District 1's not bad, obviously, when you got Newcastle, Heritage Hall, and Clinton
and Weatherford.
in there. Weatherford.
Yeah.
I'll just say this. I think when you look at overall depth across the class, I think 4A is as good as any. I think it's the best in all of high school football in Oklahoma. When you look at all the quality, the volume of quality football teams, I think 4A is the best in the state of Oklahoma.
Yeah, you just never know what you're going to get year in, year out as far as a state champion. Right. Trying to pick one this year would be tough to do. Whereas 6A football,
I do have a favorite.
Bixby Jinx,
I do have a favorite in 4A.
For 23?
For 24.
Oh, for 24.
Yeah, Heritage Hall.
Well, see, 2A numbers, of course, 2A numbers don't mean nothing for a private school because they bring it in.
Kind of sticks out for me is Medill, man. They got to travel. Other than Ardmore, they are. That's tough. Yeah. They really got to travel because Medill's it's way down there, southeast Oklahoma.
Yeah, it's way down there.
So
that's where Bigfoot lives.
Yeah.
That's 4A on the west side. Take a look at 4A on the east side. And you got Hall and Hall moving from 3A4 to 4A4. Tulsa Hill, 5A4 to 4A4. Lincoln Christian, 3A3 to 4A3. Fort Gibson switches sides on there. So that is the initial look at 4A3, and 4A4. And Lincoln Christian and Hall and Hall in 4A along with Heritage Hall. So I'll talk about 3A here in a second, but there they are, 5A. Man. 5A, you're on alert.
Oh, my goodness.
Listen, and we've seen all three. We've seen Heritage Hall, Lincoln Christian, and Hall in state championship games that we've called over the last few years. Like Chris said, the numbers you kind of throw out the window, hence the rule.
Yeah,
right. High quality football programs. I mean, high quality football programs. So, and then you look at that. You got Wagner, defending state champions. Yeah, you've got you got Lincoln Christian, and there's a drop after that.
Sure.
But on the other side, Hall and Hall. Poto, I think, for my money, would be the front runner there.
I like Poto.
But not as strong in my opinion as District 1 and District 2, but high quality football teams scattered throughout District 3 and 4.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, that will be fun. 4A is fun. Yeah, it's fun. Really fun football.
All right, we will get set for 3A football here. We'll take a look at those and. Taking my notes here real quick. Old teams out of 3A. Heritage Hall, Lincoln Christian, Hall and Hall. 3A.
Everybody 3A had a party. Had 3A, a block party.
You can breathe a little bit. Veneta is new to 3A. Claremore Sequoia is new. Cleveland, Eufaula, Bridge Creek, Woodward, and Purcell. And before we get too far, my folks in Stigler, this is your chance.
I'm telling you.
This is your chance.
It is.
They've had some of their greatest teams over the last 10, 12 years and get blown out in the semis.
Yeah, it's almost like everybody can agree, okay, this just isn't right.
3A has been loaded with Heritage Hall, Lincoln Christians, and the Hall and Halls and all that stuff. Like Stigler, they beat Hall and Hall. Sweet. We haven't beat them in a long time. And then they have to play Lincoln or somebody
62 to 12
second round. So Stigler, I'm ready for you.
You're on board.
I'm rooting for you, Stigler. So let's take a look at 3A 1 and 2. And Seminole moves over from 3A3 to 3A1. Purcell 2A3 to 3A1. Woodward 4A1 to 3A1. And Bridge Creek makes a move down 4A2 to 3A2. And that's the shakeup for District 1 and District 2.
Well, District 1, Seminole over the years has had very good football teams. They can be up and down, but very good. Anadarko was absolute powerhouse for years. Kingfisher, a lot going on in Kingfisher right now, but consistently have been one of the top programs there over the years. Perkins Tryons really came on, had some great years themselves. I see Woodward. This is good for Woodward.
Yeah.
I mean, and we saw them all the time. Used to be in our district we cover on Friday nights, Guthrie Blue Jays. So we've gotten used to seeing making the trek to Woodward many times.
Had a flat tire in there. We're doing it this year.
Had a flat tire there going there one year.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, good thing I was there. We'd still be on the side of the road.
You were sleeping.
Well, I woke up.
So Seminoles, tough year in year out. Kingfisher, North Rock Creek getting going. Perkins Tryon. So, and then over in District 2, Douglas always has athletes. Been down a little bit. Marlowe, state championship team.
A couple years ago, yeah.
Just a couple years ago. Sulphur, Plainsview. So, there's your 3A1 and 3A2 look. I don't know why my little gadget's not working as smoothly as it normally is. Take a look at 3A3 and 3A4. And some notes there. Eufaula, 2A6, moving up to 3A3. Berry Hill switching districts. Cleveland coming down. Claremore coming up. And Veneta also coming up. Let's take a look at that. Here is your 3A3 and 3A4 for the 24-25 football seasons. We'll see what Eufaula does as they bump up in class. Berry Hill had to switch over from District 4 to District 3 to help balance it out a little bit. Veneta, the Hornets are moving up. Claremore Sequoia, good football program, and down in 2A, they'll make it over to 3A4. So that's just off your screen there. There's Sequoia. So,
for me, on District 3, it's Stigler Metro Christian are the first two that jump out at you, right? Can we all agree with that?
Yes.
You follow that. We'll be interested to see what happens there. I get over to District 4, Veneta popping up. I think that helps them. Vertigus is always, solid football program. Yep. Pretty equal. I think District. If I was going to go, I'd go District. I'm trying to remember District. What was in District 1 again? But I think District was it. I'd go District 1 for me. District 1's toughest. District 3, District 2's, District 4 is how I'd have it ranked.
Yeah, Metro Christian. I don't know if I mentioned them, but they're obviously 3A3 there as well. So Metro Christian, Stigler. So Stigler, you got just one you got to deal with instead of 4 or 5.
Yeah, exactly.
So Stigler, come on.
Stigler.
Let's get some championships
going.
Is
the Stigler Yellow Jackets?
No.
What is it? Bulldogs?
You're supposed to know this.
Chris knows all these.
You're making us look bad, Phil.
I'm trying right now. I'm trying to make, not you, Ronnie.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to, yeah.
All right. Now, I will give a wide shot of 2A districts here just because there's a whole lot of moving part. Remember, 2A1 is now, or 2A football is now split into 2 classifications. And we'll take a look at this. And when I originally looked at the list, and it's going to be kind of hard to see, so we'll take a look at.
You think?
All right. Well,
that's good.
Due to screen wise, we're going to have to break it up here a little bit. So, so 2A1, I can say here. So the first thing that I looked at is, 2A football is who as far as ADM, the numbers are 2A2. So 2A2 football. Vian, Rejoice Christian, and Kiefer. I'm trying to do this easy. I was hoping it would all fit on one screen here, but we'll go through it here real quick. Millwood, District 1, Jones, also in District 1, as far as your year in, year out teams that are good. Washington, they're in District 2, OCS, year in, year out as well. District 3, Beggs, Chandler, Prague.
Yeah.
Always near the top there. Cassia Hall over in 2A4, along with Victory Christian.
Yeah.
So, Vian, and I think that's going to be, as we move down to 2A, so kind of hard to do it here, but that's 2A football. So, Millwood, Washington, Beggs over the years, those are probably your...
Yeah, 3 powerhouses
year in, year out there. So we'll see.
Jones, though.
Jones is up there. OCS over the years.
Yep. Well, it's just this is very competitive. Prague's came on as of late. Rafe Watkins moved over there a couple years ago. Got Prague moving in the right direction. So I think that as you said, Millwood really jumps off at you. I mean, Washington. Washington right now, guys.
And that's 2A large. That's 2A1.
Right, 2A1. But when I look at Washington, just real quick, because we didn't say much about them, just real quick, I apologize. They got to be the favorites, right?
Well, yeah,
they're rocks, but they've got athletes everywhere.
Yeah, they do, very consistently.
Yeah.
This year they're loaded. They'll lose some seniors. We'll see what happens. But as far as tradition, okay. So let's take a look at 2A1. So this is the bottom half of now 2A. So 6A in 6A2, Choctaw, Stillwater,
Deer
Creek, Ponca City. Yeah. Not to that level, but now they're competing. So now who's going to be the 2A1? Who's going to be in the 2A2 that comes up and is now the new Choctaw, where we now have a new powerhouse, I guess you could say, a consistent team. Bixby was the 6A2 powerhouse. And so now we'll see this on the smaller school, on a 2A scale, who's going to be that team? So
will we have that team like Bixby that rattled off, 5 out of 6 state titles?
I think 7 out of 8, something like that. But Vian, you see Vian, they've been good over the years. Rejoice Christian has been good over the years, and Kiefer has been good over the years with all these schools combined.
Yeah.
So now we'll see, they'll have the advantage going in, but who will be the new team to come out that will be, we hadn't talked about them in 4 or 5 years. Now they're the good team.
Well, you look at Stillwater, right?
Stillwater
for years we'd have to say middle of the road, right?
Right.
And boy, bam, now they're a powerhouse coming off state championship year last year. Many people have them winning it again this year in 6A2. So, and that's what's fun for me when they do this is those teams that were good teams, but because of the district they were in, whatever.
Size.
Yeah, the record wasn't reflective, I think, of the quality of football they played. They were just in a catch-22. So it'll be fun to see who that team is in 2A2.
Yeah, and
my Cold Hornets, baby.
Who?
My Cold Hornets.
Oh, are you still riding that pony?
Oh, yeah. Even in 24, baby.
They graduated everybody last year.
We'll be back.
Team like Perry might be a perfect example here because they've had – for Perry, they'll go for 2 or 3 years being really good, then they go down because the classes come in. Perry could be on a more consistent level with schools closer to their ADM now might have a chance. So Perry could be a contender like that. Yeah. So that's what makes it interesting here with adding the new class of seeing who the new teams are, because now it's like where it was Choctaw playing against Bixby and never had a chance of winning.
Right.
Now they do. Right. So that's the cool thing about this.
It is.
Class A football, same thing here. And since my screen won't show up nice and pretty on the other screen, we'll take a look at it here, district by district. Crescent and Cashion split. They're no longer in the same district there. Wow. So Watonga, Crescent, Hooker, Fairview. 4 quality teams in there. You throw in Minko. That's a very good class over the years. Cashion and
Christian Heritage.
Yep,
they've been good.
So these are the teams that will continue to be in Class A, but this is Class A1. Yeah. But Huska's had good years. Pawnee, tradition. Tonkawa, tradition.
You were on that Tonkawa train last year.
Yep. District 4. Stroud has had some years. Warner, the Eagles have had some years there. So that is Class A1. And then now here we go, Class A2. And let me look at my notes here real quick. Class A2. So the team that when there were 64 of them that had been good over the years, Ringling, Hominy, Woodland. Now it's been shrunk down to 32 teams for them. So they have the inside advantage because they've been competing against A1 schools. Now they're going to be competing against A2 schools. And here is how A2, District 1 and 2 looks. Thomas, they were in the state championship just a couple of years ago. Rush Springs has been good over the years. Southwest Covenant. District 2, Allen. Yes, they play football. Good baseball program, but they do play football. Ringling, there's one
that's
of
the one that jumps out at you.
Yeah, that's the one that jumps out. And we'll take a look at the 3A, A2, District 3, and District 4, and Gore in District 3. They were in a state championship a year ago. Morrison has all those state championships. They're down, but I think beginning in 23, they're going to be a much improved team. And then District 4, Afton was in a state championship just a couple of years ago. Hominy's good year in, year out, and Woodland.
Yeah. This is where you'll really see some, because like you said, Ringling's been good in one when they're playing all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, as I look across, I think it's, now you never know. Small towns, you don't know who they have coming up, who they don't. You can wake up one year, have a graduating year, and you don't even have, you've got 28 kids out for football and none of them can play. Right. I mean, you don't know. I mean, small towns are what they are, but boy, historically, if you look at that, man, Ringling seems to be the path got even easier.
Yeah, if you're Ringling, you think, well, Bixby won in 6 out of 7 or 7 out of 8, whatever it was.
Let's make a run at that.
We can do that as well. Right. So we'll go real quick here. We're running out of time. Class B, again, 2 different classes there, and I think they're going to be able to pop up on my screen there for District 1 and 2. For District B1, and then B2's on the bottom there. Laverne, year in, year out is great. Shattuck, all the state championships in a row there. Snyder, the Comets, Velma, Alma, good year in. We'll take a look at District 3 and 4 for B at the top of your screen there. This is B1. And then the bottom of your screen is going to be Class B2. We can screen that a little bit. The Whippets, trying to get a resurgence. They were up so high with the ward laws there, and they have come down a little bit. So maybe coming to a Class B2 with schools around their same ADM will help them out. Pond Creek Hunter fighting Van Shea Ivans, in there with Cub Dug, Coyle. Okay, Bible Academy, good year in, year out. And then the east side of there, Maud, Davenport, and then District 4. As you see the teams there as well. So it'll be interesting to see. Class C remains the same as far as 8-man football in one class. So,
right.
So we have 3 classes of 8-man football beginning in 24 and 25.
Do we have to renegotiate our contracts since there's going to be these extra state championship games?
I haven't had that. We haven't had those conversations yet.
Well, I'm talking about Ronnie and I's contract.
We'll get there one day.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So we don't even know where the games are going to be at.
Not good at all.
We don't know where we're going to be at. I would think 9 of the 12 will be at UCO, and the 8-mans will be at other locations.
Hey, I'm not complaining because we all look forward to that. I mean, the facilities are so outstanding there, and it's done so well.
Perfect
OSSA
size.
Staff and just everybody does a great job. UCO rolls out the red carpet. Yeah. I mean, it's a fun time and the perfect place to play the majority of the state championship games.
Those are our initial thoughts. We'd like to hear your initial thoughts as well. Leave a comment wherever you're viewing this at. And always check out the High School Huddle on our YouTube channel. You go to YouTube, search Second Banana Media, and be sure to hit the subscribe button and the like button. And we're also on Facebook, Twitter, but kind of the home base of all that is secondbananamedia.com. It's a podcast network, including the home of the High School Huddle. We will have shows throughout the entire football season, live shows. We can take your questions and comments. That way you can be interactive with the show as well. That will be every Wednesday night of the high school football season at 6 o'clock on our YouTube channel. So that's why it's very important to subscribe and like when we go live, and we can interact with you. And then we do videos like this. When we upload those, you'll be notified as well. It is going to be a fun football season, and hope you are a part of it as well. We're going to get out of here. We got a show to get ready for on Wednesday night. We kick it off August 16th, our first show. Hope to have some guests throughout the entire season, as well as a top 10 games, top student athletes of the week, the High School Huddle top 5 rankings. Those are always fun to talk about as well. So all that coming up beginning on August 16th through December when we crown all these state champions.
35 state champions.
It sounds so long, but it goes so fast once you get into it, right?
It does. All right. For Ronnie Phillips, Nichols, I'm Chris Evans. We'll talk to you next time on the High School Huddle.